Um, Hi everyone, I'm Derry Wijaya. I'm an assistant professor in computer science. And today I'm going to talk about some of the works, preliminary works that we've done since the fall of this year, led by my PhD student, Yusuf Kochigit, in analyzing the language used for different racial groups in written text over time. The motivation behind our study itself is the difficulty of identifying implicit biases in text. Unlike explicit biases, implicit biases sometimes may only be visible when you look at the differences in the language used when referring to subjects from different racial groups. And one way to do that is to look at words and how they are used when referring to these people from different racial groups. And fortunately, we have access to such large collection of texts from Google Books that have digitized over 8 million of books published as early as the 1500s all the way to the year 2020. And we analyzed about 15 million of the short texts released by Google Books. They are 5 words long. And in terms of how the words are used in this text surrounding Black and white names. And we curate over 1,800 names of famous Black and white American figures, the occupations ranging from politicians, musicians, actors, athletes. And for every Black person, we have a white person of similar occupation, similar stature, who is active at similar periods in time. And then we look at exclusive words that are used exclusively only for one racial group and not the other. And as you can see here, for some decades, for each of these decades, we look at these exclusive words. And we can see, for example, in 1910, there are words that are surprisingly only used exclusively for white people, including professor. And then in 1930, words like clarinet, movies, and stuff like that are only used exclusively for white people. And this despite the fact that we select people from similar occupations. For Black names, they are mostly used in religious themes. And we also see this when we draw the semantic space of words. So in computational linguistics, we often infer the meaning of words based on how they are used in language, meaning that the meaning of words can be inferred from other words that are used co-occurring with it in text. And in similar manner, we draw the semantic space and we track how Black names move in this space over time and in terms of meaning. And we can see here in 1880s, Black names are used mostly in the context, in similar contexts to words like captured, recaptured, suspicious. And starting from the early 1910s, they are used in similar contexts with words like Jesus, gospel, savior. And more interestingly, from 1940s onwards to 1990s, there's very little movement we see in the use of how these Black names are used in text. Mostly they are used in contexts that are similar to words that represent justice system or police, words like accusation, expiation, affidavit, testimony, chief, judge, officer, and so on. Aside from looking at names in the way they are used, like words that surround them, we also look at how names are expressed in terms of their grammatical role in text. And we look at Asian American names, famous Asian American figures. We see that not only they are severely underrepresented in books, but also when they are used, they are mostly used as objects of verbs instead of subjects, specifying like more passive role in sentences. And this compared to all other racial groups. So in short, we believe that the way society perceives different racial groups might be represented by the way they are portrayed in text. And the data science tools, such as some of the things we've done, can be used to study this phenomenon in much larger scale than before. And we are currently extending this work to also study this phenomenon on larger and longer texts, including emerging media like social media and news articles. Thank you.